It's just the pattern I really wanted to sew for a long time and I've been dreaming about. Look at this skirt. It's got a surprise inside and it's got a little pair of shorts. It's all attached at the waistband. Lots of really cute features like these side pockets and a little back flounce. Don't worry, this one looks super short, but I've got two longer ones to share. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have some neat sewing to share with you today. You know, those types that you can sew 95% of the garment with a serger, can be super fast to put together, really satisfying. This is brand new from Sinclair Patterns. It's called the Skye shorts, skirt or skort. You know, I mentioned all the options because all the options are there. You can either make it a skirt in a single layer with the waistband, or you can sew up a pair of shorts, put it all together with a skirt and then attach the waistband, making it a skort. Or you can just sew the shorts on their own with the waistband. So whatever you want, you can do it. In the lineout here, you can see all the features. Look, when you see these features here, it sort of looks more complex than it is. It's not complex at all. It looks like there's a lot of pattern pieces, but it's not too bad. It's really easy to put together. Of course, I'm showing you how. And what you can see there is a wide curved yoga waistband, and you can sew that in a medium rise or a high rise. That just depends on how high you want it to hit on your torso. For the shorts that go under the skirt or on their own, you have two lengths, a shorter one and a longer one. As an option, you can also sew these panels on the sides that in two layers will create a pocket. For the shorts I've sewn, I did it without the pockets because I have pockets on the skirt. For the shorts, you have an optional gusset that you can choose whether you want to sew on or not. I love gussets. I think any garment that is fitted with a gusset feels so much more comfortable on. And then for the skirt, you have also two lengths, one that is shorter, one that is longer. I think the shorter version would be a lot suited for sports, maybe swimming, that type of more informal situation. And then the longer skirt doesn't really have to be sporty, it just depends on your fabric choice. So you can see that there's a front panel right there, and then on the sides you have pockets at the back, and it goes forward towards the front a little. There's a flounce. So I love that. In the past, I've hacked my own skirts to have a flounce at the back, so I've never seen a pattern that had it like that. But this one has it like this, so no need to hack, it was all done. Another cute option you can add to the yoga waistband is at the back, you can add a zipper pocket. The yoga waistband is quite wide, you can fit a good variety of things there, like a credit card, a key, maybe even a phone. And when it's at the back of the waistband, it sits really stable there. When you're moving around, it doesn't move anywhere. I'm just going to remove myself from here because there are these humongous ants all around my feet. I have been bitten before and it hurts. Oh my gosh, it hurts. It's annoying because it's so nice out here and I want to film here. Okay, now I'm standing on ceramic floors. No ants around here. Now about the fabrics, there's a large variety that you can choose from. The important thing is that it does need a minimum of 30%, hopefully 50% stretch horizontally. You also want your fabric to stretch vertically. This is a fitted design. There is negative ease here, so you cannot make this out of a woven fabric. It is a pull-on style, so the waistband will go over the widest part of your hips, so you definitely need your fabric to stretch the required amount. I think medium weight fabrics would be best because it's a fitted design. If you go too lightweight with your fabric, it will cling to you and it just won't look nice. Believe me, I know. I've done all these fabric pairing mistakes in the past and I know. So I would say keep it medium weight. Depends if you want to wear it for sports or not. But you know, you could use swim fabric, athletic fabrics, cotton lycra. If you want more dressy, maybe even use a stretch velvet, a denim look lycra. Those ones that you use to make jeggings would be nice. For the shorts specifically, the instructions talk a lot about the fabric and it really tells you to stay away from rayon spandex or bamboo spandex. Those fabrics, apart from being too light, just don't have the recovery. They usually don't have more than 4 or 5% spandex. So, you know, they will stretch, but they will stay stretched a little. They won't recover that well. And then you end up with really floppy, stretched out shorts underneath. And the shorts, you want them to be fitted. So stay away from those. Even if, you know, you check them and they stretch the right amount, they are just not the right type of fabric. Same as if you go too heavy, like Ponte or Scuba, maybe some French terry, it will just be too heavy, too bulky, way too fitted in there, just not the right fabric for the shorts. So keep it medium weight. Athletic knits I think are always the best ones. For the waistband, you definitely need a fabric that has at least 10% spandex. So when you look at the fabric composition of the ones that you have, check that there's at least I would say 8%, 8 to 10% spandex, and you would be okay. I had a hard time settling on my fabric choices, and I really had to control myself because I would have made like 5 skirts. I ended up making 3, and 2 of them I used athletic knits. For the third one, I used that cotton lycra that looks like denim. Love that fabric. It's going to be a workhorse. Because the Skye pattern is brand new, it is 20% off during its first week. I think that goes up to Sunday night, I believe, Australian time. So it's a great time to get it for a little bit less. I'll leave all the information in the description box below with the link and the dates, and also in the pinned comments so you can find it easy. It is an affiliate link, so I do receive commission when you purchase your patterns through there, but it doesn't cost you anything extra, and that's one way you can support the work that I do here on YouTube. Sinclair Patterns has these amazing height files, so that's always awesome. Check the file, see what height you are, and you'll probably get a better fit, especially with the shorts and the rise. I think it's got a lot to do with how tall you are. So I've chosen the tall version that goes from a height of 5'7" and above, so it's perfect for me. You have the petite and the regular as well. I think it's going to help a lot. The size goes from size 0 to 30. I've chosen to sew a size 16 blended to an 18 hip. Very easy to smooth the curve from one to the other. I did it mainly on the waistband because it's a whitish piece. Now the high rise will go above the navel. I usually like my waistbands to just hit at the belly button. That's how I like it. That's my personal preference. So I went with the mid-rise waistband. I know the high rise would have been above, and I just find that too much fabric there, a little bit more uncomfortable for me. But that is why the options are there. Everyone has their own preference. I've mentioned that this is a fitted design. There is negative ease, and the hip is 85% of the hip measurement, I think 85 to 90. So the skirt is about 10% smaller than your body. That's why you need your fabric to stretch, obviously, and you can't make this with a woven. About fitting adjustments, 0, none. Got my fabric and started sewing knowing that I was going to have a great result. It's always been like that with Sinclair Patterns. It's largely got to do with the fact that they have the toe file. For brands that don't have these height files, most of my fitting adjustments have got to do with my height. So you bypass that when there's a height file specifically for your height. I think it's a great addition. I'm just always excited to have a nice result without much effort at all. Of course, I have a lot of sewing to share, and I'm going to divide the sewing into 3 segments basically, just so it's easier to understand. They all sort of build on each other type thing. So we'll see first how to sew the skirt. I've sewn 2 skirts in the long option, just in a single layer, just the skirts. And I'm going to show you how to sew that. I've chosen a fabric that has a really clear difference between the right and the wrong side, so it's easy for you to see. It's also white on the wrong side, and I'm using black serger thread. So you're really going to see how this skirt comes together so easily. So let's see. These are all the pattern pieces for the skirt. This piece that I have here is the front panel. It's just one piece cut on the fold, and it's actually the piece that you sew on last to the skirt, so I would just remove it from your mind from now. This larger piece is the flounce that goes only on the back. It also comes forward towards the front a little bit, but it is a piece that's cut on the fold. This smaller piece is the back piece. It's also cut on the fold. The back above the flounce is completed by 2 sections, the back piece and the side panel. On top of that side panel, you have this outer pocket piece, and that goes on like that. So once you have that as one unit with the pocket done, this gets sewn together right here. It forms one piece, and then that piece gets sewn onto that piece. So it's pretty simple. To finish the edges of the pockets, we have these little bands. These get folded lengthwise, and that is how we're going to start putting this together. It's going to be all on the serger. So I'm going to leave the flounce on the table, and I'm just going to take these smaller pieces, the back, the side panel and the pocket panel. All the rest I'm just going to leave here for now. These are the 2 smaller pieces. One is actually taller than the other. The taller one is the skirt panel, and the other one is the pocket piece. So I labeled them one as inner and one as outer. Outer is because this is the area of the pocket that you'll see. They both have a mark here that says front on the pattern. So this is actually how this is going to go on top like this. You can see there's a curve that's taller there and then shorter here. So towards the front, the curve is taller right there. Anyway, let's put this bigger piece aside and let's just take these 2. These are the pocket pieces. And these are the bands that are going to finish the pockets. Now these bands are not smaller than this area. They are calculated to be 1-to-1, and that's designed to avoid pulling on the skirt. We have notches there in the middle, and we also have a notch there on the high point of this piece. So we are just going to fold these lengthwise, wrong sides together, and match them up here. See that notch? And I'm going to match it here. 3 pins is all you need. This is a small area, and then we're going to use the serger to sew these pieces together. The whole skirt uses 1/4 inch seam allowance, so it's really easy. Okay, here we have the pocket panels again. Remember, on one of these edges you have written front. From the pattern piece, I have a front right there and a front right there. That's really important because it's going to help us align our pocket pieces. On our pocket pieces, we also have a front right there on one of these ends. So that is the way that this is going to go, front with front. Both of these are right sides up, and this piece just goes on top. Now this, we just flip it like that. Now if you have a fabric that doesn't press flat, you might want to top stitch that down. With this specific fabric, if I put a lot of steam in here, it'll press really flat, so I'm not going to be doing any top stitching. And you can see that they have the same shape here on these ends. In theory, you would need to baste these pieces together right here, right there, and right there to keep them acting as one piece. It is something that you would need to remove though, so it doesn't compromise the vertical stretch. So I wouldn't go ahead and do a straight stitch and something that you couldn't remove, because this fabric is so stable and it's really easy to work with. I'm not going to be basting them together. I'm just going to be pinning them together, and I'm putting the pins quite away from the edge so that they're easy to remove and they don't get in the way of anything. On the side that says front is where you're going to have the taller area, and on the other side it's going to curve down. So that's one done. I'm just going to repeat the same thing and just put the pins on each side, and then this essentially will act as one piece. When we look at the pocket, it curves down, right? Curves down. I've got them mirrored. These edges that are here have a single notch right there. These are the ones that are going to match the back piece. So we had our back piece. It's a smaller, shorter piece. It's got that notch there. So that's what's going to go right there, right sides together. Can see those notches match, and on the other side, so this will then become one back piece. Then when we have this sewn together, then we can attach the flounce that goes at the bottom here. Here are the panels pinned. These are the side panels, the ones that have the pocket right there on the sides, and then in the center we have the back piece. We've just put together the top of the back piece. That's the back, those are the side panels. And now we can unite the flounce. When we open up this flounce, it's going to match perfect and follow that curve right there. So we have a few notches to help us. You can see that the edge matches here. We have that notch is going to match that seam. Then we have that notch is going to match that one, and so on and so forth. Here we have some more notches, so it's really easy to put this puzzle together. Here we have the back pieces. That's the back. This is one of the side panels that forms a whole piece right here. Once that was all constructed and that seam done, we can pin the flounce from one side to the other. Lots of notches to help you match it up. That one with that seam, then we have one there with that one, then the center back, then another one, another seam. So it matches perfect, it fits all perfectly fine, and now we have a completed back. So we're just going to sew this with the serger. I've chosen this fabric to film because I think it's easy to see what's going on, because you can see the seams in the black serger thread. So there's the side panel where the pocket is, there's the back piece, there's the other pocket piece. This was made as one piece first, and then we've sewn on the bottom flounce right there. Now I'm just going to turn it this way, and I'm going to flip it like that a little bit. Now we can take our front panel, and this is what's missing from this skirt. This is going to go here, right there. Here on this pocket piece, you can see there are 2 notches here on both layers. And then on this front panel, you have the same 2 notches. So that's what helps you know that this is what goes together here, all the way down. I still have my pins there holding these 2 layers together, but we're actually going to close that off now. You know, this seam closed the bottom of the pocket, that seam closed that edge of the pocket, and now this next seam is going to completely close off all this pocket here. 2 straight seams, and then the skirt is basically done. If you want to sew the shorts, then you would put the shorts inside the skirt and attach the waistband, or you can attach the waistband to the skirt without the shorts. If you want to sew the skort and add that little short inside your skirt and just act as one layer, also going to show you how to sew these little shorts. I've sewn mine without the pocket panels, but you've just seen how I made the skirt. It's very similar to that. You just overlay 2 layers, finish the top with a band, add that between the front and the leg pieces, and you get pockets. I have not included that because I didn't sew that. But most importantly, you'll see how to sew this little triangle gusset. It's so easy. No need to feed the gusset. It's easy to sew. Let's see how. These are the pattern pieces for the shorts. This is the shorter length version. There is a longer short option, and I'm making just the regular shorts with a gusset. If you want to make lateral pockets, there's a cut line here on the pattern where you would cut the back and the front a little narrower, and then in between you would have 2 layers for the pockets. You'll see something similar done with the skirt, but for the shorts I'm keeping it simple. The gusset is optional, and if you take your pattern piece, you can see it has this shape that you would on a back crotch curve, and then there's a fold line there if you want to do the gusset. So that's the way I've cut mine, so I can have a gusset. It is totally optional. I always like them because I find them more comfortable. This is the gusset piece. It's a little triangle. You're meant to cut 2 layers and then just treat them as one. It reinforces the area. And you'll see 1 single notch there and double notches on these other areas of the triangle. This makes it super easy to put together because you have 2 notches right there. That means that this goes like this on 1 layer of the back and then on the other layer. I'll show you how to sew that together. These notches facilitate you putting this together a great deal. I do have a few pins holding this together just partially, same as on the front. That will be sewn separately. So we'll just start by putting this gusset together. It's super easy. We'll do it all on the serger. Okay, here we have our back pieces. My fabric is sort of the same on the wrong and the right side, so you always know the wrong side is the one that has all the scribbles on it. So here is the crotch curve. It doesn't have the crotch curve right there, remember? That piece was cut away to give way to this gusset. So you can see the double notches there, the double notches there. I'm going to choose this one and align it right there. Remember, this is how it's supposed to look. The double notches there and the other double notch here, and this longer area of the triangle with a single notch has to be on its own right here. I'm only going to do this on one of these layers, so I'll just take the other layer aside. I have a lot of pins on the gusset just to keep the 2 layers together acting like one piece. So just match these up here. I'm going to sew it from this side because I can see it better. I'm going to use these same pins. So we're just going to sew this little bit together here. Remember, double notch here, double notch there. The seam allowance for this pattern is 1/4 inch, including in this gusset area. So just try to be careful with the blade of your serger and not trim anything away. Okay, so here we can see this first step sewn right here. So we'll take this pin out. Now we see that we have this extension on just one side, but not on the other side. This is now when we sew all this, including this, and catching this other side that has a double notch there to this other side. So you can see how easy this is going to match up here. What's important here is that we keep the seam allowance pointing outwards here. So you don't want this to fold over like that. You want to keep it extended just like it is right there. And now we sew the back crotch, including this little area here. We're going to catch that seam. You can see how that double notch matches the double notch from the other side. I know gussets are funny things and people tend to think they're harder than they are, but they're really not that hard to sew. Okay, here we are in this section here. Just make sure to keep this seam allowance extended that way. So don't let it fold over. Okay, so that's how it looks. It's really neat. You can see the seam allowances for this triangle are both headed towards the outside of the triangle. None of them are sewn like this. What I really didn't want is this first seam allowance to come this way, and on the other side it's very neat. That's the tip of the triangle there. Basically, this is the way the triangle looks here at the bottom, where you have the single notch, and when you extend these seam allowances, this matches. Now we will set this back aside. Now the next easy step is to sew the front crotch. It's a very short little seam. Nothing complex about this front crotch curve. It's super easy. There it's sewn. Now we are going to open this up, extend it, and place this with the fabric right sides up like this. So that is the crotch curve opened up. This is the inseam right there. This will be longer if you're sewing the longer shorts. Now we're going to take our back again and align these here. You can see that single notch. That's going to match the crotch seam from the front right there. So just match these up. And this is how these shorts come together. We sew the inseams first, catching all of this gusset business. Okay, so there it is. We're going to sew that together now on the serger, making sure to keep the seam allowances like they're supposed to be. Okay, there we have the inseam sewn. This is a view from the back. This is a view from the front where we have that crotch curve. And that is how the little gusset triangle looks. It's 2 layers. From this side, it looks like that. It's very neat. And now what we do is just put this together to sew the side seams. So here we have the side seams, one of them, and then the other one. And that is basically how you make these little shorts if you want to put the gusset there. Very easy. I hope this helps. You can make the shorts to wear on their own. In that case, you would finish the shorts and add on your waistband and you would be done. Or you can just put them together at the waist with the skirt. It all looks like one piece. So let's see about that. I have my little shorts here, right sides out. I have basted up my hems. I'll do that later with a twin needle. And I've just got pins there marking where the seam allowance are going to go so I don't get that wrong. Here I have my skirt. It's already constructed. This is the short skirt. I've also got the hem just folded up and hand basted, ready to go. This is the front panel right there, and you can see that there's a side panel that's a little shorter here, and this is where you have your pocket opening, and then the flounce goes all the way up to there. But you would have seen how to put this skirt together. All I'm gonna do now is put the shorts inside. So basically we're going to have wrong side of the skirt touching the right side of the shorts and matching up all the seams, the sides and the center. I'm going to take my time to pin and baste everything around the top so that then this can just act as one piece for when we sew on the waistband. Okay, so there are the 2 layers hand basted. So just make sure you meet everything 1 to 1. Now just pretend that this is just 1 layer. Now the third part of this sewing segment is the waistband. It's got an inner layer and an outer layer. The front and the back pieces, they are not the same piece, so you have to cut them separately. And I'm quickly going to show you how to put this together, how to stabilize that waistband with an elastic on the top, and how to sew this onto the skirt or shorts or whatever you're sewing it onto. It's the same thing. So let's see. I'm doing the regular waistband. It is curved and it's got different pieces for the front and the back. So this is my outer layer. I've got it with the main fabric, and I've cut the second layer that's going to be inside with a contrast athletic knit. So basically you need to cut 2 fronts, 2 backs. One will be the outer layer and the other will be the inner layer. I've got them pinned here at the side seams, and I'm going to go and sew these at the sewing machine. I'll be using a narrow zigzag for that so that the stitch stretches when you put your skirt on and off. It is pull on. Okay, I've been to the iron and I've pressed all my seam allowances flat and open like this, both for the outer layer and the inner layer. I've got both layers right sides together, as you can see, matching the back with the back and the front with the front, of course. And on the smaller area, this is where we're going to sew it together on the round. You could essentially sew this with a serger. I prefer to do it on the sewing machine. So I'm going to use a not so shallow zigzag. I do want the zigzag to show. so that it does actually allow a lot of stretch. You know, I'm going to be pulling this waistband over my hips, so I want the stitches to last, so that's what I'm going to use there. Not so shallow but not huge either. And I'm going to use a slightly larger seam allowance here. You're supposed to use a 1/4. I'm going to be using the edge of my presser foot as a guide, which is slightly over 1/4 inch, slightly under 3/8. So I have a little bit more space to then add the elastic that's going to go on the top to stabilize. Now we need some elastic. Look, your elastic could be 3/4 inch wide if you wanted to. It can be 3/8. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you sew it smaller than the seam allowance that we've done. So you will have some overhang here on the other side, and that's fine. That will just be inside the waistband. It won't upset anything. So I'm just going to start pinning my elastic all along the top. You're supposed to just pin it the same length, so the elastic shouldn't be smaller than the waistband. It's just going to give the waistband a little more structure. So I am going to take the time to pin it all the way around. And then over here I'm going to have a tiny overlap, and then I'm going to sew it on again with another zigzag. Okay, so you can see that we've sewn the elastic on the seam allowance, so a little further away from that original seam right there. And we have a bit of elastic hanging over here. That doesn't matter. So now we're going to open this up, and we're going to do a type of understitch. So what we want to do is open these two waistbands. This is how it looks inside. The elastic is going to point towards the inner waistband, the one that's going to be inside. So there is the bulk right here under there. And now we're going to do the same type of zigzag to hold it down here from the inside. We want it to be a zigzag so that it allows the stretch. This is going to allow this to stay inside and not be seen from the outside. It's different to when we understitch woven, where we do it right on the edge. Here it is sort of on the edge, but it's a zigzag stitch instead. Just let the feed dogs do their thing. Don't stretch out the waistband while you're sewing. Just let it go through. That's how the inner waistband's going to look. It's got that zigzag on the top. The elastic inside makes this nice and stable. It'll still allow stretch, and it'll be really comfortable. And then all we need to do now is sew this on top of the skirt, whether you're just doing the skirt in a single layer or you're doing the skirt and the shorts. And now I have my waistband. You've already seen how to put the waistband together, and this side that has the top stitching on the elastic, that's going to be the inner layer of the waistband. So I have the right side of the waistband inside, making sure I know the difference between the front and the back waistband. I know this is the front waistband, so I'm gonna just slide the skirt short combo inside the waistband, and then just meet everything up at the top the same way. You don't have to stretch the waistband. It's the same size as the top of the skirt short combo, and then we can serge it all together on the round. This is the first one I made. This is the shorter length version. This is the skirt and the shorts, so it's a skort as such. And I have my waistband right there. You saw how I've sewn that on. It's got the elastic on the top to give it some stability. The waistband, I use the same type of fabric for the inner and the outer layers. They're exactly the same, and that's it sewn right there on top of the skirt. Here is the side panel with the pocket right there. The pocket is closed at the bottom with that flounce, and you saw that the flounce starts from the back and goes all the way partially over to the front, and here is the front panel. So cute. I love this flounce. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute. You know, I love skirts that are A-lined. Having that flounce at the back just gives it that little extra without making this a full circle skirt or a half circle skirt, you know. I like it like this. It's my ideal type of skirt. And at the bottom I have the little shorts. They are sewn together here at the waist, and really simple shorts. Hem allowance is 1 inch for the shorts. For the skirt it's 5/8 of an inch. It totally makes sense that this hem allowance is smaller because it's curved. And under here we have the triangle gusset. You saw how that was put together, very easy. Takes only a few steps, not as hard. And if you really hate gussets, you don't have to. You can just sew the shorts normal and don't fold away that little piece that's optional. So it's up to you. Now, why did I make it in navy? I want this to be a type of swim garment, and in navy, I have a hard time when I go to pools or water parks. There's some amazing water parks here because I want to be fully clothed all day, and I really don't want to be wearing a traditional type of swimwear where my bottom is exposed, and I want to be fully dressed. So this is going to dry really quickly. If it gets wet, that's fine. To wear here on this area, I've got this top that I made 2020. It's from Sinclair Patterns. This is a Skye hoodie, but I hacked it into just being a t-shirt. I just made the sleeves shorter. This is swim material right here. I'd wanted to wear this to water parks. I didn't have any navy bottoms to go with it, but now I do. So I'm really glad I have this outfit now. I can wear and go get wet in and just enjoy my day without worrying about being covered up and all of that. So let's see how this looks. I think this is the shortest skirt you've ever seen me wear, but it's fine. It's appropriate for a swim style context. Love that little flounce at the back. I think it's so cute. Love the yoga waistband. It's wide, supportive, super comfortable. It's got little shorts underneath, all attached. It's just one piece. The little pockets could be practical, although I'm not going to use them, but they are there and I think they're cute as well. Love this one, and I hope I have time to make a black one because I really want a black one now. I've got it paired with a rash guard type, another pattern from Sinclair called Skye, and I think they go well together. This is going to serve me so well at a water park or a pool. It's going to be great. This is the second skirt I made. This is the one you saw in the tutorial. Look, when I see a print that I love, because it's hard to find prints that I love, I just buy a whole bunch of yardage, and this is a fabric that keeps on giving. I have made a Juno jacket, which is a pattern from Sinclair. Also with the same fabric, I've made some leggings. Now I've got the skirt, and I still have some left for a cami, and then it'll be done. But the colors are amazing. There's purple tones in here and it's just so pretty. For my waistband pieces, you can see it's black in there. I have a different athletic knit, same weight as this one. I just wanted to save my main fabric, having in mind that if I'd cut another 2 layers here, I would have less to make the cami. I have a little bit left over, so I'm just trying to maximize this amazing fabric. So that's the only reason I have black in there. Otherwise, it's sewn in the same way. It's all the same. This one, because it's printed, you can't really see the details of the panels and things like you can see it with this one. So I think the solid here really helps you see all the details. Here it's a print, no one's going to know the pockets are there, but I will. If I want to put something small in there, I'll use it. Look, I'd never put my phone, I'd never put anything big and bulky in there because it is a fitted skirt. Anything that you put in there, you're going to see the bulk of it. So something tiny would be good, a single layer, no shorts underneath. I wouldn't wear this for sports. I mean, I would dress this up with heels and wear it like a regular skirt. Here you can see all the panels inside. The pockets are in this section, but on the other side of the fabric, you can see the front panel and the back flounce right there. So lovely, so fast to put together. I got my black as a layer top, which is also from Sinclair. It goes with everything. Put it over this, some little heels and a bag, and I'd go to church like that for sure. And I'd feel great, and best of all, I'd be super comfy. This is my Skye skirt in a longer length option. This is an athletic knit with an amazing print. I love this print so much. You can style this skirt a little bit more formal if you want to. I've got a pair of heels here and my azalea top, also from Sinclair. Little handbag, and I'd be ready to go to church like this and feel amazing. So comfortable. Here you can't see the pockets because of all the print, but the same features are there. The back flounce is just adorable, and the yoga waistband makes it super comfortable to wear. Stylish. Couldn't ask for anything else. For the third one, I wanted to make one that was going to be a workhorse. I pulled out my trusty cotton lycra that looks like denim. It even has the twill. Everything is just a stretchy material. I use it for waistbands. I've used this type of fabric for a lot of garments. I really wanted to have a skirt like this because I love the style. And then I figured out, you know, I'm going to make a simplified one without the pockets. And it's so easy. Oh my gosh, if you don't want the pockets to be there, it's so easy to just remove them while keeping the same shape and everything the same. So in like a minute, see how I change that piece, which makes the sewing even easier. I'm going to simplify one of these and not sew the pockets on the sides. So it's super easy. All I'm doing is taking the skirt back and the skirt side panel and uniting them. I'm folding away the 1/4 inch seam allowance on each of these pieces, and I'm just going to put them together like that. I'm going to put a little bit of tape, and then this is the piece I'm going to cut out for the back that goes on the top, and then at the bottom we'll have the flounce, and we won't have the seam there or the pocket. It'll just be simplified. So here's my modified back piece. As you can see, it's just one single piece on the top, no side panel or pockets. Very easy to simplify if you want the same style without the pockets. So now it's the same as the other skirt. I've just flipped it the other way around. We have the missing section here in the front, and this is where we sew in our front panel, and that completes up the skirt. I decided to top stitch this just to highlight the seam. Here is that seam right there. Here is the seam of the flounce, but you can see it's all clean here. There's no pocket entrance. You know, it's all one piece from the back that goes forward to the front. See, really, this one took no time at all to make. Here's the flounce on the back. Yoga waistband. For this one, I used cotton lycra inside, just because I like cotton lycra on my skin. It's so much softer than this material. You know, this is fine, but it's a little more rough, you know. If I can choose, and if I have the cotton lycra, I prefer that inside. It's the same weight, 10% spandex, so it's going to help with the recovery, and everything's going to be super comfortable. Very nice. I love this one so much. Grabbed a red top and some red shoes because red and navy always a safe bet for me, at least. So let's see. This is my third Skye skirt. This one is also in a single layer, no shorts underneath. And this is a cotton lycra with a denim look. And in this color navy, it's going to be a workhorse. I'm going to be able to wear this with so many of my tops. For this one, I modified the pieces at the back a little to omit the pocket. Although the fit and the look is the same, there's just no pockets on this one. I still have the flounce. I have top stitched some of these seams to highlight them. I love this flounce and the fact that it doesn't involve the whole skirt. Still makes it look like an A-line skirt. That extra volume only at the back is just perfect. Just perfect. Let me tell you, I had to put so much restraint on myself to not sew so many. When I really love something, you know, I tend to sew a lot of them, and I just want to get it out of my system because I know it's really hard for me to go and sew a pattern again. You know, I'm always trying to create different content for you. I really wanted these three. I really want to have another one of these in black. Just the same thing as this. Swim material with the shorts inside, so that I can have a black version for going to the pool or to the water parks or whatever. I hope I can get it done because I really love this so much, and it's going to be so practical. It takes no time to sew. It's super cute on. I love the style. I'm just really happy with these. I just really like patterns that have a lot of options and that can serve you in a lot of different ways, because not everyone does sports with skirts, so you can have a skirt for normal wear or whatever. You know, you can always find a way to make a style like this work. It's just got to do with the fabric choice and how you style it. So I love that I can get a whole range of activities done with this same pattern, and it's just the cutest thing. Don't forget to check out the Skye short skirt and skort from Sinclair. 20% off during the first week. All the information is down below in the description box as always. And that is all from me today. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.